Happy Friday! If you've been crafting along, today you'll be inking the illustration you drew yesterday. To ink your illustration, you can use pens or markers. I usually prefer markers though because they're much smoother gliding across the paper and they're bigger so my hand won't cramp. I do like to use pens for thinner details, but they're thinner so my hand will cramp, and if it's not an inking pen, I tend to use way too much pressure and dig into the paper, causing more resistance while inking. It's very unpleasant. Pens are fine to use, I just don't prefer them. You have to remember to not push down so hard. For some reason, I always feel like if I push down harder, the ink will come out better or something. The reference photos I used showed the petals being a bit transparent and overlapping. They're thin and we're looking up at the sky in this illustration, so I tried to mimic that look. It kind of looks goofy just as line work, but once I color it, hopefully it looks better because that will show the transparency and overlapping better. I'm right-handed, so I'm working from top and left to bottom and right to make a habit of it. Sharpie won't smudge on the paper, however using pens that can occasionally pool ink or not dry immediately can smudge much easier, so you want to avoid rubbing your hand and arm over it. Those of you who draw regularly know about the gray or black hand and arm smudges that don't like to scrub off your skin very easily. And it smudges all over your work, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. So throughout the video, I'll be chiming in here and there to tell you about my process as this goes on, but that's about all I have to say at the moment, so enjoy the music for now. To draw the dirt and rocks to look kind of jagged and random, I held the marker intentionally too loose and awkward. Not enough to where it would fall out of my hand, but enough to where it was effortless to make random points and curves. I also hovered my arm and hand above the table. It helped keep the lines thin since these details aren't a focal point of the drawing. To make tapered lines easier to draw, turn your work to follow the natural curve of your pen stroke. And as you approach the end of each line, lift off the paper. And as you lift off, continue to follow through with your line stroke for a perfect tapered point. Make sure you're using the thinnest tip of your utensil, or it might end up a little wonky. For thicker lines, I held the marker at more of an angle to outline only the outside of the major objects and accent details like some of the rocks. Giving these a thicker outline with thinner detail lines inside makes it look more like it's from a coloring book. This was probably my favorite part of the inking this illustration. I love heavy line work. Make sure when you're ready to erase your pencil to first double check that every pencil line has been inked. Then as you are erasing, try to only push away from your hand that's holding the paper in place. If you push in toward your hand, and this happened to me earlier this week, the paper will crease, and it is impossible to fix a crease in paper. So take your time, be slow and thorough. Even I erased way too fast at first, but I slowed down. When you've completed your inking process, take a good quality, straight-on photo with good even lighting and clean it up in a photo editor so you can share it with the rest of us. I would love to color your illustrations, and I'm sure other people would as well. This image is complete. We are at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like, follow my social medias, especially my Facebook page, to know what projects we'll be doing together next. Have a great day and happy drawing!